had a good period of time where I was afraid to fly in airplanes. I was afraid to go on roller coasters. As a kid, I slept with the lights on some nights. The reason why I allowed myself to have this fear of airplanes and the fears that I had was because I thought, okay, well, eventually the fear will go away. But that's not how fear works. What fear does is once fear has a foothold, it takes more and more and more of your life. And I found that I was being afraid of more and more things. I remember going into work one day, felt like I was not getting a deep enough breath. Then I started to think about that, and I couldn't stop thinking about it for 2 weeks. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was afraid I was gonna die. That was the point in my life where I was like, I could lose everything. I could lose everything because of fear. I had this one moment in my life though, that changed everything. I was at a Tony Robbins seminar, a Date with Destiny, and Tony was on the stage and he said something that just struck me. It completely changed the course of my life. He said, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably live with. There's a scene in Final Destination where the main character, he's avoiding death because death is coming for him next. He figures out, okay, well, it's coming for me, so I'm gonna go to this cabin in the woods and I'm gonna get rid of all the sharp objects, I'm gonna tape everything to the walls. There's a scene where he's sitting there with some oven mitts on his hands and he's trying to eat some food out of a can. And he's all alone in this cabin in the middle of nowhere with oven mitts on his hands, and he realizes that he's not living his life. He might as well be dead rather than sit in a cabin waiting it out to make sure that he doesn't die for the next 30 or 40 years. And I was like, shit, that's me. That was me. That's what fear was doing in my life, because I realized I was trying to build this fortress around myself. Financially, I made a lot of money, had a lot of real estate investments, didn't take any more risks anymore. I was like, I gotta pay off all the properties, have my money coming in, and I did that. I had a physical fortress. I'm not gonna do anything risky. I'm not flying on airplanes, I'm doing roller coasters, none of this stuff. Forget combat, any of this stuff, right? Emotionally, no one's gonna hurt me. Not gonna let anyone in. Level 2, zombie mode. Finally, when that happened, I remember leaving that conference and I changed my entire life around. I got on a plane. I went and found the most ridiculous roller coasters that I could ever find and started riding those. I started taking down my walls. I started allowing myself to be open and to not care what other people think. Because here's what I learned about fear. I remember sitting on an airplane, trying to put my headphones on, playing Nintendo DS, and trying to block out the turbulence, trying to suppress the fear, trying to say, oh, I'm not afraid, I don't feel the fear. See, fear, just like all emotions, it's instinctual. You can't control fear. No matter how much you try and control it and try to block it out and say, I'm not gonna be afraid, I'm not afraid, you can't control fear. But what I learned is that you can always choose to have courage. Fear is uncontrollable, but courage is a choice. Not only is it a choice, but it's like a muscle. The more that you exercise courage, the stronger it becomes and it nullifies fear. Once I learned that little trick, then I started reinterpreting things. I started reinterpreting fear as excitement. The highest high that you'll ever have in your life is that moment right after you conquer fear. If you've ever ridden a roller coaster, after you come all the way up and then that drop, that's the highest high that you'll ever have in life, is when you conquer fear. And you get addicted to that shit. I was a little bit afraid to get on the stage today, but then I thought, yeah, this is good. This is exciting. Maybe I should just throw away the slides and just make it even more terrifying. Because I know the exhilarating feeling of forcing myself to grow that courage a little bit more. And I'll give you one quick tip here on conquering fear. When I was doing the panic attacks, I tried everything. Tried blocking it out. I got medication, checked my lungs, all kinds of stuff. But I found this, it wasn't even a YouTube video. It was some webpage, there was an audio, and the guy was like, hey, when you're having a panic attack, this is what you do. He said, stop trying to block it out. He said, turn it up from a 7 to an 11. Try to feel as much fear as you can. Just feel all that shit. Be like, give me your worst. Because the default when we feel fear is to hide away from it, to try and block it out, to try and ignore it. I don't want to see the lion over there. I'm not looking at you. So here's what you do. Turn it up. Try to feel the fear as much as possible. So I said, okay, I've tried everything else. I might as well try this. So I had the panic attack and I just said, take me. Kill me. I don't give a f. Just give it to me. Let me feel as much fear. Bring it on. Bring it on. This is all you got. Bring it on. Because you know what it turns out to be is that the thing that we actually fear is fear itself. You've heard this, but it's true. I was instantly cured. Instantly cured. Instantly I went back to work. No more panic attacks. I did the same thing with the airplane. Booked a plane ticket, booked a window seat, opened up the shades, said, you're gonna look out the window the whole time. On takeoff, I'm looking out the window, no headphones, nothing. And then I'm like, all right, when turbulence comes, it's bouncy time. Let's jump in the seat. Let's scare all the other passengers. Turbulence is coming, I'm like, woo! Yeah! People are looking at me, they're like, what the is wrong with this guy? And there was some bad turbulence, but I was having a good all time. I was afraid when I was going, woo! But I was letting myself feel the fear. And once you realize that that's as bad as it gets, you've already experienced as bad as it gets. It's like when you have a really bad headache and you're like, well, this headache is a 10 out of 10. Can't get any worse. So then you just accept it. And then the fear disappears. If you're struggling with approach anxiety, same thing. Just like, this is really scary. Go up to the girl and be like, this is really scary. What do you think? You're probably not gonna have success, but you'll feel good about it. You'll be like, yeah, shit, I just talked to this intimidating girl. Good job.